we've seen them time and time again line up to meet and greet with the Prime Minister Major Shah on his visits abroad, isn't it? The Dawoodi Bohra community, because their diaspora is there in the US, is there in across North America, across Europe, across Middle East, across East Africa, and we've seen, of course, their contributions in Egypt too. Tell us a bit about the diaspora's presence across various international regions and the connect of the Dawoodi Bohra community with Prime Minister Modi. How do you view it?
All right, Vineet, just about a couple of months back, the Prime Minister inaugurated one of in fact, Saidna Saab's, one of the educational institutions in Mumbai, where my father, when he was the Vice Chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University, they had got Mr. Saidna Saab as the Chancellor of AMU. So even he was invited. So there the Prime Minister, while addressing, he said, I do not speak to you as the Prime Minister of the country, I speak to you as a member of the family. So that itself shows this connect with the Dawoodi Bohra community. In fact, much before he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, his connection with the Dawoodi Bohra community dates back since then. And now again in Cairo, when he goes to the mosque, and last 3 months back, it was restored by the Dawoodi Bohra community, who had collected funds, they had invested their energy, their time, their labor in restoring that mosque. And the first thing when he met the Bohra community members in Cairo was, how is His Holiness Saidna Saab? That was the first thing that came to his mind. Now the very fact he met the Grand Mufti, he was greeted by the Prime Minister, his meeting with the President, everything speaks great volumes. And now the very fact, after over 2.5 decades, we have a Indian Prime Minister visiting Egypt. Last Prime Minister was in 1997. That was Mr. I.K. Gujral. And I'm very surprised, the very fact that we've had such good relationship with Egypt, and we date back, let me take you back in history in 1955. In fact, President Nasser and Jawaharlal Nehru worked together commonly for one goal. That was towards the strengthening the ties. Just about a year and a half back, we had INS Tabar, Indian naval ship Tabar, going for a naval exercise towards Egypt. And in fact, when I visited Egypt today, I had from Saudi Arabia, we had crossed the Red Sea, we had taken the car in the ship as well. We got off at Aqaba port, and from there we went by road to Cairo, to Alexandria, and to other places. And the way the Egyptians would greet us, just because we've come from India, I mean, it was really, really amazing. And they are a very big film industry fans as well. There it was, oh, if you are from India, Amitabh Bachchan, Kaifalik, Wes, and then you're taking the car in the ship, Hal Mumkin Nizab Sierra. So it was like, really, I tell you, our relationship with Egypt is actually it's very, very good. And Egypt is supposed to be this called informally as the commercial capital of the African countries. Among all the African countries, it's the most prominent country, if you see that way. And it's got a mix of Arab culture and African culture over there. So I think I'll give an example. Two friends who grew up together in the same school, even when they meet after 25 years, the connection remains the same on the 25th reunion. But when you keep meeting, you keep in touch, you strengthen the ties further. So similarly, it's very important to actually keep strengthening, cementing the ties. Relationships and friendships are not that you make it once in your lifetime and you forget about them. You have to constantly keep working towards them. You have to constantly keep working on it. Like in today's world, we meet people virtually, right? But what about what's the joy when you meet them physically, in flesh and blood, you shake hands, you give them each a hug. Our Prime Minister always has this quality of meeting everybody with garam joshi, with warmth, with a lot of affection, and he connects with people. That's one thing one has to appreciate. And the very fact that it certainly enhances and further enriches India-Egypt ties, it is something we all are very happy about. In fact, I would like to conclude by saying the hotel, the Ritz-Carlton Hotel he's staying in Cairo, there a poem by an Egyptian poet on Mahatma Gandhi. There, the 26th January, when the president of Egypt had come to India, his pictures are displayed there, they're exhibited there. So most certainly, it speaks high volumes of our relationship with with Egypt there.
Yes, it certainly does. Understanding a bit about the Dawoodi Bohra community's origins, Major Shah, just tell us about where they trace their origins to and a bit more about this community. Now, reportedly, they are primarily in the Indian state of Gujarat and the Pakistani city of Karachi. Is this correct?
Oh, well, they are, yes, it's correct that they are dominant in the Gujarat state, yes. But they are Dawoodi Bohras in Burhanpur and Madhya Pradesh, and they are all over basically. And of course, they wear a different kind of a cap, different kind of a dress. They have different for the ladies who wear burqas, who choose to wear burqas. Have a different kind of a burqa with them, in fact. So most certainly, and they are a very close-knit community of. They are a business community actually. So they, in fact, and they remain united. In fact, majority of the Muslim community, sorry to say, they are not very united. Like, they are different sects. They are Shia, they are Sunnis, and they are, I mean, I don't even know of all this. They are Deobandis, they are all kind of, there are different sects, and they don't stand together. So there is a Memon community in the Muslims, and then there is the Bohra community, which are primarily business communities. And the examples of these communities are often taken that whenever there is a talk to unite people, unite them in the right way, in the positive way, in the correct way, in the peaceful path of. So most certainly, it is the Bohra community name is always taken, and their leader, His Holiness Sayyidina Sahab, he is a living legend, an example, and he has a huge following over there, huge following. And you go in so many different countries. So you go and talk about the Bohra community there. It is, once again I say, they are totally very, very solid. They are very strong.
Let me also quickly allow Major Shah to come in there on what all can be learned from the Bohra community for the other sects of the Muslims in India and abroad.
First thing, do not cry the victim card. First. Second thing is, remain united. Don't cut each other's throats and don't pull each other's legs. If someone's doing well, push him even further up. Thirdly, of course, entrepreneurship. That's something when many of us, we do not get good jobs. Many people, and it's not only about the Muslim community, about everyone. So when even the Baniyas, even the Marwadis, even the Punjabi community, they stand by each other. They are basically like, for example, Gujaratis. I am Calcutta over there. And I'm Ahmedabad. A lot of people they turn into entrepreneurs. But at I am Calcutta, we have people, again, who do jobs or who get into cultural things. Because of the affinity, again, because East is more culturally inclined. Now, Gujarat, if you see anyone from any IM or any Bohra or anyone originating from Gujarati blood, they will be very good entrepreneurs. They know how to deal with business. They are very good entrepreneurs. So one is work for your own self. Why work for somebody else and make that person richer? Work for your own self. So the Bohras are very, and then they say stand by each other by through thick and thin. That I covered that point in unity, of course, and their patriotism. It is unquestionable completely over there. So the very fact is, as Atar Zia rightly said earlier, that one has to learn the way this community has come forward, got together, and the way they have progressed. Like, again, I'll give an example. Jews, they were actually almost wiped out. But the way they rose from the ashes, and today you see Israel, for that matter, they are prospering all over the world. So the communities which have been under threat, which have been almost, but they have done so well. So that is one lesson everyone should take from them. And they have always maintained their personal relationship. I have a very dear friend, Zahir Abbas Sodawala from Burhanpur. He's into the ice cream business and such things. They're doing so well. In fact, they stand by each other. His cousins, Wasim, Sarfraz, Nazia, they all stand by each other over there.
Right.
So that is something which we can take home from.
Thank you so much for joining us.